Be diligent to present yourself as one approved unto God, as a workman who needs not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Makachiro part 1 mu say, Onyankopon pese na asemu yechechem. Se wan hunu Onyankopon semu enchechemu a, obeto wo ho agum. Na saa adesua ye fapem adesua eye fundamental e de ma Kristo ni biara. Ubetumi aye osofo, ubetumi aye sampakani. Enso no sa wante saa de we ase a e ma o Bible adesua etosin. O Bible adesua ebe wo fom esan say eniyama ebebri wani eso. Abraham Nyankopon ehye ne bo say Abraham wo ejano mo breso. Na mo me na mo so through you I'm going to bless the whole world. Meshira wiase dina na ansa na meshira ewiase mesra mo fa me board nemra me ansa na meshira wiase dina no medikai ama oman efiri mu ayeden aba. I will make you a great nation. Sa oman no adofo no mo eno ene oman Israel. Na makachira wo say na nkopon asem bia wo kan bia no eye ne bresem. Ofri Abraham so and I say, if Abraham, so I'm not going to the world. God is not going to move from the patriarchal age to the world. No. God is moving from Abraham, from the patriarchal age to a nation, then to the world. Now, this means that there are so many nations. But God says, I'm not going to choose them. Choose who? Abraham with direct lineage. Waslimufoɔ no ɛna mepɛ wɔn meni wɔn bɛyɛ adwuma na wɔn na Onyankopɔn de na hyɛdeɛ na tamudeɛ na mmara ɛde ma wɔn wo a wote hɔ yi wonka ho bi. It is a very big mistake say ofa Bible a wokɔ apam dada mu a na wo choose nea wopɛ. You pick and choose what you like. Na mafa tithe na mafa ntwenebɔ na mafa harvest na mafa ye go na ebinom fa homeda na mafa fa sa na no na masan wetu no e wo Kristo so mu adofo no mo. It is terrible. Psalm 147 verse 19 and 20. Psalm 147 verse 19 and 20. Mr. Oda no Bible na yensua de. Psalm 147 verse 19 and 20.
He declares his word to Jacob.
Now, in the Mosaical dispensation, say Oba Mose breso esom no a ne Bible no train say Onyankopon dining somewhere the editor Jacob. He declared his word to Jacob. Jacob munso na Israel there everybody. In fact, Jacob had the name Israel. Or no, and I say the freedom more, a man look at Israel for so. And you know, in the Mosaical dispensation, Moses Bresson stay in a process that's here. Or you need somewhere the editor Jacob to swear.
His statutes and his judgments to Israel.
What they not tell with the Yakupon or pen, and then you one pen. They said, dear, his statutes, his judgments, or the Mahainum
Israel.
One farmer Egypt. Canaan for no deal, Canaan for no Israel for no war, what's assassin so one first Amrana Mawo. Israel were moving to Canaan. Bible said Mukwa, Mono Munkumuntu or Munfree assassin so. Now Kupon first Amrano, more. In fact, the 613 laws here come once in one farmer. He declared his judgment and statutes. Now tell me his judgments to Israel. I said, dear body, what's he saying?
He has not dealt thus with any nation.
What's he saying? On ye on my dear sir, da. Now, in this period, on ye on my dear sir, da. That means to say there were other nations. But Yankupon said, wait dear, Simon Brown, wait no dear. And Israel, Puara, Namadema. On my dear Rankamu, we are Ghana, Botswana. Libya, Ethiopia, Mozambique, and America. Was it on your man be a sada? Nanya Hong Kong, what was it?
And as for his judgments, they have not known them.
Now, tell me, his judgments, they don't know. One say, a minor I can they don't know. Wow. And you know, so we be catch I was say, and next Christmas soon one, I was so quapam that demo, no go to Emra, most say you now send Papa no adiafa. I don't know no adiafa. Yes, say no adiafa. Now, or so your Christian, I can't say, won't you Bible no answer, what Daniel no able to. If you say, what say, if free Abraham so, now back on mine so, from Abraham to a nation, then to the world. Now, a year dying and nano, it depends, said, Tintinia, I was said, yes, I quit. Your Bible will be in Exodus chapter 12, verse 43. There is a very nice passage in Exodus chapter 12, verse 43 to 49. Now, so what what does this person do? If a stranger comes to Israel, what does he do? The strangers were not part of it.
Verse 43. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover.
Passover no this is it.
No foreigner shall eat it.
Until maintain say, and never will be so the Bible. Still, no, I say, video could choose upon the Damra, Obia, only Israel.
But every man's servant who is bought for money, when you have circumcised him, then he may eat it.
Say, you will be a Jew, say, obey be there, and you also be a Jew near San Island. Wow. And I will say, and I now go on the Emrano, tell commandments to my reality now, and then I'll go. No. What to work with the daddy? Twice away,
A sojourner and a hired servant shall not eat it.
Okay.
In one house it shall be eaten. You shall not carry any of the flesh outside the house. Right, Joseph, these are some of the laws. Don't carry any of the flesh of the animal outside the house. Nor shall you break one of its bones.
Don't break one of its bones.
All the congregation of Israel shall keep it.
And
when a stranger dwells with you and wants to keep the Passover to the people,
when a stranger or Nandani, a person no wants no was so person Passover ni bidia o nim Yankopomra. But a person did bidia o se dey kan mun twa ne twetia afi onye de enkoy.
Let all his males be circumcised.
And there oni na busua nyina me ma ni na ye ntwa mo twetia ko woni.
And then let him come near and keep it.
Afi de obetimi edibi. Afi de obetimi edibi. Adofo no mo me catch that will say Bible more this nation was a special nation. Bible said Psalm 147 said he has not dealt so with any nation. Any other nation it's Israel from Kwara and another was our Emrano. No one Kwara and a Yankopon de Ma woman. Obi Fufro Biara and Kahumbi Mukrakra. Nayanshan also said in the patriarchal age, Onyankopon amfa emra we ya kenkan no wanfa ma woman so. We had Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 1 to 3. Moses was so specific. In 2% with dispensation as here or chemu Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 1 to 3. Or chemu say, "Ya we no bread. We have the age of the fathers." And as they say, me Mose, me Branua, Yankopon di me mama me dem brana mama no so gina brana. These two times were separate. The age of the fathers were different from, or was different from the age of Israel. Deuteronomy 5 verse 1. What's it?
And Moses called all Israel and said to them,
and the Moses for Israel for you now catch that one say.
Hear, O Israel,
the
statutes and their judgments which I speak to
now,
you,
said there, and then I tell you,
that you may learn them and be careful to observe them.
Now, when this so Israel for
the Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb.
Now, Moses shall say, someone kaya, sin 9, Horeb. My children say, as I see a sin 9 1, and your friend Horeb. God made a covenant to whom baby. Moses brother shall say free. I was sin 9. And then Yankopon no pam. Our children will say, Monin to said, the make be a move this war, twice way.
The Lord did not make this covenant with our fathers.
Medase. On Yankopon Pamano, and no one yet, no day. Abraham was not part of this covenant. Noah was not part of this covenant. Shem, Ham, Japheth, Omun Kahumbi. And you know, tie point the ye. Or says our pamono, they made that covenant. It was Sinai, Horeb. Sinai, so they see when they did 10 commandments in your day. So don't tell me, say, if you are going to say, I don't deny the Sabbath. Who told you? And no, what then I walk. You are speaking your mind. Because Moses specifically says that the fathers did not have the same law, the same covenant. The fathers were different from the Mosaical era. Okay, to us way.
The Lord did not make this covenant with our fathers, but with us, those who are here.
And those who are here,
all of us who are alive. The Lord talked with you face to face on the mountain in the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to declare to you the word of the Lord, for you were afraid because of the fire.
I had a day or point never. If we said Namuna Musro, a Janu Musro, and I must say Mose, Unquako, not a calling Yankupon Cocasa, Nebra. And then Yankupon, I can't say, Tentina, a yet, me mamma tell you, no Musro. And I'll say, and ye, Mose bra, never did the Akan, Crawford say, Corner Quajamaye. Near ye can say, Adofonomo, Onyankupon, and nay, Mose, any Israel for Epamapam. Now, so hacking kind year, a bra, part 1 no more, ye king kind Passover, Sabbath, Nini at Tessano, or say, Sa Emrei, a becos wall, ma 1 to so emo. In Deuteronomy chapter 5. Moses, I say, yeah, you're tearing and Yankupon ye pam. But a permanent Yankupon ye pam, or say, I want to us when you answer by day. It be so. Sound it here. After Moses, those who are born after Moses, woman in Nabedi, Sa, Apam Dada, and now say Moses Mrei, eso. Now, a year day in a fay, yes, I'm quiet. Kai, the Lasuha, or mine. True, Hassan Bay, Yanyara, Yapaya, Yako, yet that's what my back could be. Now, Sa or mine, Israel mine. Young way anymore. Say, Yashasa, Moses a breast so assumia. You want to say, now almost no more bought a more aforia. A more aforia dear, now a bopa. A fibiara, I was a yokosa at the end. Now, what they Imrechie and Imponte and Woja and a Yosa. Yen prince by or loss up and what kind say. Already, yes, to society money in not and Sonia point. And oh, yes, said you one Casabe day, ever back no about you. Now, question I'm a person of Buani a year, no one say. Say, now, who point your mind back? Now, a man who do a pray, no one more hot they are. And yes, I am who do no more yet. This is a good question. What were they doing? Then I say, this will be a year, no. No more yet. Can we confirm, say, in truth, no, sir, or my one and Yankupon almost that. I just said, O Yankupon Brebia, what the man, all the commandments of God, the 613, as a children Israel for Wara. But Ghana for 90 children, Fasadian 2 and to children Ghana for, but as a children Israel for Wara. Romans chapter 2, verse 14 and 15. That's the Bible. Romans 2, verse 14 and 15. And yes, Uncle of ways are bringing money now. Quite best one and Uncle will go on. So I'm finding my arm, I won't want.
Verse 14. For when Gentiles who do not have the law.
Now, I'm a man who for one would need a day and Morano. And I also want more Morano. No, they did not have the law. From 10 commandments to so Ebenina, they did not have the law. Twice way.
By nature, do the things in the law.
By nature, now who person your shot your board, dear no. Nipa bi aye wo to ho no ma wo dim say wo bi ade enye or the nature so ebebu o matan ko wanim
these although not having the law
although they did not have the law because na Israel for nko a eti Yankopon sheda mo ne we no nante we no mo de Romans 2 said they did not have the law no mo ni emra no they did not have the law except for Israel but Yankopon bebu o matan or de o ma wusuo Any woman, 3 months, and you want to I didn't want him say, when you want found sanka, don't touch this, don't hold this, and for me, and you say, Nina, send your sabre anymore, not etieno, and no bitch, and the war matin. On you soup, Bible, no fame war matin. Twas way.
Although not having the law, are a law to themselves.
Was say, one name ran there, and so one Cassandra Bay and Radima, they became a law to themselves. To wait, check away. Now, or he has a shamra, now we have a shamra, a man crowd, sa, a bayam radima, twas way.
Who show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience, also bearing witness.
I fail you or say, O Makuma Muono, or much shred and brano, and man. Hallelujah. It's unsaid, when Uncle Pomba, on nature so ecasaturu be nature. God speaks to us through nature. And we have found a general revelation. To Romans 1 verse 20 said, in Yama Yankupon Bono, all the created things are Yankupon Bono, a Cassadi Tre said Yankupon a day, or home. Yankupon be Buamate. Ain't you know, some 4 ways now, or say, Obequeti in Branzana Trinican, Obequeti Brano. Obequeti Brano will Buamate. By nature, by their conscience, or the Buamate. See, it's unsaid. Now, coupons may be asking in our school. Never one son, and they say, me a day, me Israel for the head. It's one. It's now coupon provided BBR. Or more, I'm a minor dear. Was say, okay, what do you want number? Now, no, why am I first to boom but it is without the law. Without the law. Acts chapter 14, verse 16. Acts 14, verse 16. Yeah, King can say Romans chapter 2. Well, we hand out, no. I know they need so wait much right. So, Acts chapter 14, verse 16.
Verse 16.
Quiet.
Who in bygone generations allowed all nations to walk in their own way.
Hey, see, God allowed all the nations. Oh, Mamma, I can't even know. One more idea, one more form there, so. One more quiet, so. Wow. And this is the period that he was still with the nation Israel. But I say, but I will judge you, not with the law. Because when a stranger comes into Israel, and you catch it so say, because on need you, on Israel. This is a fundamental principle. Entity obi be catch her say and a sabbath and a tithe and a tremble and I say no, you don't know what you are talking. It's unsaid. One more point no more sabre or so he will leave the law alone and judge them by nature and in their conscience. It's unsaid. Conscience bear witness against them. Yeah, then I failure. Yes, I'm quitting. Animal sacrifices were in the Mosaic dispensation. And then when you Galatians chapter 3, verse number 10. Galatians 3, verse 10. Wait till the handouts, but your point of Galatians 3, verse number 10.
Verse 10.
What's it say?
For as many as are of the works of the law,
they go into the law, the Old Testament, the Mosaic law. Or say as many no te say and then in sorry bebre and our person what jina emra nyuma eso to aso
are under the case.
Hey, they are under a curse. Brother Battle of Christ move forward. Me na me say, hey, you are under a curse. If you go back and then ufri we are saying no one call. Say change me there. Ni na wo Bible mu. Ni na wo Bible mu ntino. Wo say me di. O say Yesu amesa mra no akeka no saa. Obe share ma no kura no quote yetin.
For it is written, cursed is everyone who does not continue in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them.
Adenti ena onipa biara okwapam say ye tight e ye komeda works of the law. You now say papa haye kronkron de na be or say and no mean you are cursed. You are cursed. Adenti na wadome wa. Or say, if we say, what you say, and no man can be biara. Onya nyama wa apam da danimu enina. 613 makachiremo. You cannot say you're going into the Old Testament and then pick and choose what you want. Yeah, you know, sir. Say, ubediswa, any dinina so. And one pick and choose. Wouldn't the end here? Israel for an uncle upon the mouth, me pamucho. Ya can't Exodus 19. What they say, Uncle Pon say, Munim ran the Amope. Maybe the memory of Mamu, and so Munim Amope. Did you hear God telling the Israelites, said, pick and choose what you want in the Old Testament? No. Or say, somebody am running in our so there. Somebody in our so there. And near Mobile Memai. The Bible says you are cursed if you go into the Old Covenant and pick what you like. The Jeremy said, and then I saw the biara, and if a biara, or call upon the no fatite, no function, no a giant animal sacrifice, or see you are cursed. You are under a curse. Oh, yeah. You are under a curse. I'll see a son of Bible, Galatians 3 verse 10. You are under a curse. Obiara, Okofa, Homeda, no a you pick the Sabbath. No a giant and a ball, no Okofa, or say, what domain? Open Surako. Do you want to go to heaven? You want to go to heaven? Then free yourself from this earth. You will free that and no meaning. Anyone who goes into the law and performs any work of the law, be also what domain. Wow. It is very important. Very, very important. Dispensations. It's never going to please God because you are under a curse. You are under a curse. The national religion. The Church of Christ, let's ask ourselves, what law are we keeping today? Are we under a curse? Yeah. We are under a curse. And that's the saying the same. Also, and then you probably brain, I can't send me, but for Bible, no, or baby, no, I had BB, now with him. A son said, home, what is we are doing? We are off home, one day to obey you. Ah, sorry, no, I home, one in the room. Whom one in the room. Took a cause, enemy who wait into the end. What had the Bible no can? Maybe I made me did the best Bible, no, as things I am here, wait, I mean, who wait, and I'm a dancer, the end, and why not the young to a team. The Yamiasa Mukabia, oh, you're serious. What do you want? 1, 2, said your own canon, Bible say you are under a curse, you are under a curse. Uso, when so, Bible say you are under a curse, you are under a curse. Because me per se, me yet the Bible no air can essence say. May yet be a dancer, can say, I shall radiate no. I'm coupon no, and course, I no create and family. The Mosaical period, Yankopon said, may call nations so, now if you want. My back area so. And pro whom could dig him round the man or my Israel so. Are you wrong? Yes, sir. Unyan and tell him what the other. Now, Hebrew 12 for a cassava to so do and one. Or can we be at the far home say, or say, and for pay a biara and mine. And for pay a biara, there is no perfection in it. In fact, or say, we trap a murder animal because say, a weak and useless. Theo, a weak and useless. I don't think they're useless. It's not say, did you make you obedient? I didn't. See, so it's useless. If you say you're unprofitable. I hear that you may be, and I also was uncle as I could do so. There be. A new covenant was a necessity. Jeremiah 31 which try and say, when you come on the deep was so exercise say, hey, maybe that's a mo. There is a popular saying which says, oh, yan shamrase, Namu Yashade, I don't want to say, okay, we are no uncle ready. Hey, just I don't know. Oh, yes, yan shamrase, yes, I don't want to know a sample this height. Look at that. I don't know what can one minute home. Yan shamrase, yes, I don't want to know a country boom. Now, there's any man in a frown one. You wouldn't say, I want this now. No, I sound come. Oh, yes, what? Oh, more for the boss was oh, and some rashes. I know they know it. Bible said, you are under a curse. It's not said, who choose Old Testament in the old pay. Come on, come. And try Mudia, or catch Israel for some winning in answer, the need answer near her. Ho, and I assembly war. Jeremiah said, now put on every year and rap for from. Now, F said, Sir, Emray, and near win you many nano. Now put on, and I'm yes, so at the ball, assembly, I know. Should I say, baby, I agree. Or have a picture here across at them Finfini. And ye be a Bible no more a funny fan. Now, coupon am cross no so anything I wouldn't find a woman kumono. So I say, yes, Mojano, the blood of Christ goes back. Back to the nation of Israel, goes back to the patriarchal age. And I answer I hear Bansono, a hokro yen. A hokro yen. A Juma, Eddie. Now, Oba upon for any more, Abraham Chamber Remono. And no dear, and by Abraham Bush. Now, Coupon Abraham, the Namoso, may your mind can say, now feel my cobia singing. Into the crank, Yankopon, but we are singing now. On am yes so, and I obey yes. Colossians chapter 2, verse 13 to 17. Colossians 2, verse 13 to 17. Yeah.
Verse 13.
Quite.
And you, being dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, he has made alive together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses. You were
uncircumcised. These nations, I'm talking to you, you were sinners. I'm not going to or say, make catch them say, and not dear, they say, the whole world. What Maquia Mamon so ye no more be, ye so ye back now coupon in time. Twas way.
Having wiped out the handwriting of the requirements that was against us. Into
no papa and sano atre, and near my mrano atra tronino, or papa di fru, or not it was against us. It's not said, or yet the man or mine back on Quara. Twas way.
Which was contrary to us. And he has taken it out of the way, having nailed it to the cross.
Or say, what they abhor a senior. Now, my name is so. Yes, we saw the abhor a senior. Now, a dear na air coso and then. Yes, with the abhor a senior, not a bit of for a senior, and say, yes, put your home, you be. Yes, with your home, I am my own family. To treat, you be ye and Brano, near your back, near Bidiso. What kind of issue is this? Well, Brad, now Abraham said, I will deal with the nation, then I will go to the world. And two separate things. I don't know. Two separate things. Dealing with the nation and then to the world.
Having disarmed principalities and powers, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them in it. Verse 16. So let no one judge you in food, or in drink, or regarding a festival, or a new moon, or Sabbath. Okay. It's a failure state. Say yes with your boss, and you all have to say. And near my welcome the demo to say, every way, Leviticus chapter 10. Or say, and more being fire how. About a fashion swap, upon the devil and fashion. All these festivals. Or say, no, let no one tell you about that. Or standing for a new man, and man will be fine their do, who made dance so, and more will be fine their do. Adentia, to Asuma 17, what's saying? Which are a shadow of the things to come.
Yet, what's the sign you're money now? And yet, near my panwa erbano, the soon. Abraham, they back a nation so. If you are, come on, baby, ask me now. It's the near man, young people, whatever God told the nation, I'll be a soon, a shadow. Shadow. A shadow, a chum, who will be shadow, hey, I quit it so. Not what chum was, hey, me who tell rampa, not a shadow. And yet the reality. And yet the reality. They are the shadows of things to come. It's what I say, when you go, yeah, but about the sea. If we are seeing an answer. What's I say? But the reality,
But the substance is of Christ.
No, Momono, the reality. If you want to know how God is blessing the whole world, or say, yes, Christo, and as I had any idea. Enti yenko emrada da no mu nkoye se chenchene a me san kofa enema no bi ewo mu yenyo saa woyɛ saa no a na ese Kristosum no wante ase watu ho agu in fact watu ho agu esan se Nyankopɔn asɛm enye saa na kyerɛkyerɛ Yesu Kristo epese amanamamufoɔ ne Jewfoɔ Israelfoɔ nyinaa no emra ne mu saa na Nyankopɔn ɛyɛ no sɛ ne ɔka kyerɛ Abraham from Mosaic to Christian. Yanko Galatians chapter 4 verse number 4. Yabreninti me free enema kakra bi. You had a bridge Mosaic to Christian age. Galatians 4 verse 4 to 5. What's it?
But when the fullness of the time had come.
Yeah. Bible said you when the fullness of time came. What is Saakasanase? Ebre no ewie duro no. Ebre no ewie duro na ebre no a Nyankopɔn ahyehyɛ no yɛ den. Eba ye. When the time came, e kyerɛ sɛ Nyankopɔn no hwehwɛ sɛ ebre bi baba. Nyankopɔn ne oyɛ nyinaa ne sɛ ɔnam agya no mo so de edi kan na ofiri agya no mo so a wakɔ Israelfoɔ so na waba Nyankopɔn pɛ sɛ ɔgye wiase nyinaa. But that time no it hadn't come yet. Enti ebre no wie duro no that means say Nyankopɔn bɔhyɛ no ɔde bɛgye wiase nyinaa time na yɛ de. Ghana for ka sɛ go say time aso time ayɛ de. Aso. E ka no ma de so time ayɛ de. Yesu no eba. Enti ebre no wie duro no kyerɛ sɛ wiase nyinaa muntie o time na so. E say de Nyankopɔn ne wiase nyinaa na ebedile. E say de Nyankopɔn be hyira wiase nyinaa. God is going to bless the whole world. To say ebre no wie duro no to aso e.
But when the fullness of the time had come, God sent forth His Son.
Afedie osuma ne ba no to aso e.
Born of a woman.
Ena oma oba ewu Yesu koso e.
Born under the law.
Was say Yesu no he was born under the law. Ti Yesu ba eni nyina no na emra no guso ye de. He was born under the law. Esa say na o say Yesu ba kosi say asennua no so ni wo ni so wie echire. Was say there machake ade no masesa no abawi asenyina. Born under the law. To aso
to redeem those who were under the law.
Na embom no oba say obeyi wo mu a emra na kyekere wo mu nyina no efiri ase. Eti Israel fo emra na kyekere wo mu, yen so emra na kyekere yen say, yen so ne yentimi nkwa Awurade ho, sani anke bedi de mra so nyina no obema ye freedom. Oto aso a o say no wagye ye den ayema. He would receive us through adoption as sons. God through Jesus is receiving the whole world through adoption. Na wagye yen aye emma. O say ebre no wie duro. Enu nti na Israelfo ni nyina no mo hwa ni mo yi da be na Yesu no beba na saa mra ahoduo yi. Last time your first lecture sim yesempaka ni no kan ho asem. Homeda nyina o mo say da ben na homeda no be ye den. Ebetwam da ben e na beko. Na Amos say eye da Yesu Kristo ebewuo. Ewia be jai bo na esum kudu. Esum kebi ebesi. Amos chapter 8. Verse 7 edikosi 9 o ka kire. It's Yesu maye no if Jesus comes Jesus is going to bridge the gap. Oyi emra fi ho no a kire se nipa nyina yemra Onyankopɔn enchen. Wo se ebre no wie dro. Tie ontimi nkɔ apam da dan mu nkɔ ye pick and choose. Minim ne enti nipa ye saa. Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 12. Troto ho anonso minim say any handout nso. Ezekiel 20 verse number 12. Can you verse 10? Yeah, break it up, no, and crack between Mosaic and a Christian. Ezekiel, woman, see a view, teach a woodoo, and it was in
Therefore, I made them go out of the land of Egypt.
Ain't in the free Egypt, quiet.
And brought them into the wilderness.
And I'm a dear mobile, as well as so quiet.
Verse 11. And I gave them my statutes.
And I'm a day, my sister, dear Emma, woman.
And show them my judgment.
And I'm a chum, my temu dear. Okay.
Which, if a man does, he shall live by them.
That's all be any of it, Nancy. Till them. Israel for some no, and found whom kushim. Who you coffee, medium you coffee. Kwame, Adua, why, Oko Israel a pen. To us way.
Moreover, I also give them my Sabbath.
What's it? Me who me dance so?
To be a sign between them and me.
Sabbath. A sign. Material has several times said, "Hey, upon biara nyankopon ni papa me bia no na ensentrene sign eka ho." Na sign eka ho. Adam de mpo na sign ka ho de dua no ye sign. Noah de o se me de nyankonton aye sign. Upon biara nyankopon ni papa bia, there is a sign of that papa. In Shanka Yankopon said, "Oh, by Brian Yankopon, your mind is there, or the Homeda a sign. Homeda no be a sense of the Chess and Yankopon is right for a walk upon. Tell ye, Sir Apamo Yaduma a Chamua, how can the sign still exist? Mentia Dianasu. Yankopon said, so long as we have a covenant, may no wapam. We and a young monument at Chess a wapam. And I'm a similar yapam left to her, then one whole centenary is wopoti. As some way, I hint the account. And here you can't ask him, we will. And you can't walk. And Nuntina, over Christos, the Lord's Supper is a sign of the covenant. We are Christian now in the Lord's Supper. Uncle have you. And yet the sign of the new covenant. Yes, Christos said the Mojano, a yapamo adie. A yapamo adie. Just like every covenant in the Bible has a sign, the Lord's Supper is a sign. A Chelsea and Yankopon, if God has replaced the sign, now I don't know what's uncle. I don't know what's uncle. Ain't you know, a dear Bapo so dear, a sign in the covenant between the Mosaical period and then God, no, yes, I did. Now say a permanent chamua, the sign in your home. Put any the sign in your home. Galatians 3, it's in Mopoti, verse 10. Those who go into the law to perform its works are under a curse. For curse is anyone who does not do all that is written in the law. Or so this Sabbath there, observe everything in the law. Untimedia and you jai to her. Ubako did to so do Moses, you now some papa and Ubako did there or say any dinina. And yes, idea why you mistake what to work. Obako found to nebo, ewo David there, now wabo, now weja and one for the ball, you don't know what you're doing. Obako found to so do, no weja niaka to her, you don't know what you're doing because it is a curse issue. No man, Assam, and we are still bridging the gap between the Mosaical and the Christian period. Galatians 3, verse 23 to 25. Trotoho, and also handouts also. Galatians 3, verse 10, no trends will be Piero Comre. He's under a curse. Now in verse 23, no, yet here at the answer. I am the power.
Verse 23.
Quite.
But before faith came,
now answer yes,
we were kept under guard by the law.
Now anybody in Ano and Marano, I guard at their mom, I check you the law is checking them. And yet Israel for the sons and the man, you wouldn't want to say it.
Kept for their faith, which would afterward be revealed.
Theo. Emrano gade Israel for no ko see say didie no be den e be reveal e be die no ho adi enti wo nyina ha say eh ebere bi baba didie no e die no ho adi a then we will be free from the law therefore
the law was our tutor
emrano na oye kirechirefo kwen
to bring us to Christ
ode yen eba hwan chen Christo chen tight emu afọrebo abofra so denfo o sofo tunufo wanti a yabusi na buonku no enhyentare kales ni nyinara na ediomanim de omaku Kristo to aso
that we might be justified by faith.
Sani ebeya obegina gidie wo Yesu so ayele ebu yebem na mom enya emra no ko wani mo.
But after faith has come,
na mom gidie enya abai no,
we are no longer under a tutor.
Yenhye emra no asibie. Gidie abai Yenhye emra no asibie. Na also we dey tie afen na we dey tie there. Bible say men can't talk about me or see you are under a curse. Open heavy ako. You are under a curse. Because you go back to the works of the law. You go back to it. Or say, Gidia Beno, Yenhye Emrano Asibi. At the end of the Bible, no can tell you. Adi enti kura na ye kenkan Old Testament. Obi say na saa de na Moses ensem ni nyina no ma ye kenkan. E wo so ye kan. Na mo ye kan a ye de gye Romans chapter 15 verse number 4. Choto ho na question wo kirekyere mu a hwa na ekosi e na ye ntwantwene wo twatwene aye twatwene anyankopon no ubedi te wo twatwene aye Romans 15 verse 4. What's it?
For whatever things were written before were
enti niam a wo kyerɛ ye also ma kyerɛ wo say father's age no wan kyerɛ bibiara enti niam a wo kyerɛ nyina no eye Moses bre eko enti no oka kyerɛ Christopher no say niam a wo kyerɛ before Old Testament no kwai
were written for our learning.
Tio what they are to what they are mayen say yensua not as a law. It wasn't written as a law. It was written for our learning. One try mayen say na enye mra maye na emum say yensua yankenkan kwaso e
that we, through the patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
That through the patience and comfort of the scriptures, you be near that so. Timikai, Old Testament na, as one year Israel for ye ni. Send your most equal Yankupon say, many of your conquering to Bamentanya, I was so the crook, and you was a man to make him. Now, Emra Yankupon dear mammy and Nano, me a day. But one can say, Emrana Yankupon de Abraham, for Bako for me, quack of fat no this. Who thinks that way? I didn't know you're going to say. Emrana Yankupon de Mamos, a chinchinia, may come a cheap Macoso. I don't know what you say. I don't know what it was. Intino, if I do, baby, no Mrano, on one hemwa, no one wants a son, Mrano, send your pay, or the son of title, or so lay a formula, but they say, you're near being, yes, a son, Yakupo power soon be. Yankupon power soon be. Sana Yankupon Ratie, say, Emrasa San, or say, Emrasa Saint, I couldn't want you be what is I know. Emrasa Sa, what's your I want it. Emrasa Saint, Mr. Sa. Na Yankupon Rasa, I don't follow. No, a chumwa, a chum. Or say the Old Testament is for our learning. It's your kinkaya, you preach you more, send you to that, you preach you. Hey, Abraham, Yankupon se fa for real. Oma, it's also who Sikabia, fire day. Fabuan, Yeduma. Into no beya dear, ye the 2 year hopeful. Ye the Casachre. No, it is not for our law. And yam ram fam my yen. And yam ram fam my yen. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 6. Adequacy 11. Yentie Eradiasa. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 6 to 11.
Verse 6.
Yeah.
Now these things became our examples. To the intent that we should not last after evil things, as they also lasted. Ain't you know what say? In Yama Israel for ye, need na be example. Tio, the Old Testament is for our example. Hey, I be example the amaye. Send ye be ya, ye kon am no bone. Ye kon am no bone. The Old Testament is not a law for you. It is an example for you. Ayen send na ho hwe sene Nyankopon ni panante e wo mo ye sutie man wow Nyankopon hira wo mo manye sutie Nyankopon ni omu die na mo medie ene no me nhye emra no ase na mo me hye Yesu Kristo ase to aso mayen and do not become idolaters as were some of them.
Enti mamo nya abosonsomfo sene omu bi no mo ye ye kwai
as it is written. The people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Verse 8. Nor let us commit sexual immorality, as some of them did, and in one day 23,000 fell. Nor let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed by serpents. Nor complain, as some of them also complained and were destroyed by the destroyer. Now all these things happened to them as examples, and they were written for our admonition. Upon whom
they were written, say, and it is not for our law. And you say so be your friend who saw your Christian, who are Kokoti Mose, you Nasan Papa, or Kokoti, and to so do, more fight to so do Radi Crademu, or bet you more Alcosin so and Koye. And you won't put a ferry, say, Chenabo, who are Kokoti, some 150. Now I say, what are you doing? Well, Brad Galatians 3, you are under a case. Why should you do that? Why should you do that? I am from Swa, say, and then the Christian dispensation, the third dispensation, in the Christian dispensation, Yankupon said it goes for the whole world. Wow. And found the baby, I will be and not there. Was me free? Aha, Abba. Me free, one nation, maybe if we are singing now. It is for the whole world. Tomorrow, that will be to her from Jerusalem, and now Christosum has spread the Akobia. Has spread the Akobia in the Christian dispensation. In the Christian dispensation, God turns from a family and a nation to the whole world. There shall still be the patriarchal dispensation, family system, and then to the nation. And then now God is going to the whole world. The whole world. John 3 verse 60, right? Jesus says, send me a yankupon door wine if we are senior. Exodus 19 was said, we are seeing now media to be Israel. That's the difference. That's the difference. But ye Israel, where you say to the whole world. To the whole world. Mark 16 verse 15. Osimunko we ask asempano entre abodie nyina all creation. Nyo didie na obone suo no obeje no kwa. That is the Christian dispensation. Enti Kristo mu ono adofo no mo ena se say ye wo. Enti na hade obi a wantie Kristo ensam bia no onyankopon ebegina so e de ebu naten. Efri aware so e de ba ba bia. God is going to judge us today under this dispensation. Under this dispensation. And two busa say, as someone who can preach, I woka some ye, adie no, adie nyankopon e de share Israel for na say. De Christo e ba yo kan say enye na suma for no say ye. Adie wo kan de Moses enye Christo som and say na etie. Galatians chapter 1. Any handout no so tro to ho. Galatians 1 verse 13. Galatians 1. Obi abia the Bible name ha there. Galatians 1 verse number 13. Now intro and 10 be our call.
For you have heard of my former conduct in Judaism.
Tio. Say Christos Maba. Paul say mate mekane akwan no ana ewo Juda de mu esum. Entino Juda so na wo ho. The Mosaical period, tight there, Humeda, and the Sanya Mani Nana, or Paul said, me free Judah Sumu, and no name, Mosaical to Christian one, not yet come once more. What say, Macane, me quine, sending nam, a war, Judaism, Judah Sumu, Adafonomo, Judaism is not Christianity. Tight there, and your Christianity, Sabbath, and your Christianity. And no, your friend, Judaism. Wamu na no kwa sorry memenda wamu na waje to so dudu wamu na grow to neki no e wo ho emu aforepọ e wo ho ye frɛ no Judaism Paul say me free mu de da to aso e mate me kan akwan e wo Judas mu ha.
How I persecuted the church of God.
Emma na me tie Christosum a Christopher na me tie woman because you cannot be a Judaizer and then a Christian at the same time. Untimi nya sa. Untimi nya nipa ukwa from the dem enyama e wo Judaism mu na wakofa. Uwia no wasamba Christo mu no wasamba me fa na wo di afra. Paul said no. Me ye Jew ni nti no na me tie a Christopher. A Christopher won kwa sori memenda. Okwa sori kwasiada. One sorry, Obeka, and yes, who made the internet walk to say the Enra Yeshia Mono, a yada, I debia, you bet me a shiamu, and when Quasia, you sorry at that, yes, to sorry for Nini Naka. It's Hoputi, Obibiara, or Sakon, or you are cursed. If you go back to the law, you are cursed. And yes, sir, the Nina, to us over my
beyond measure and try to destroy it.
Also, me per se, me destroy no. Me per se me destroy no. Esan say, untimi nya ni mienu, ema no eyeye. Enya dia ebesi. Na I was say shalom. The central theme is Christ. In the Christian dispensation, Christo, and in the center of it, Jesus is the center of Christianity. It is all about Jesus. It's all about Jesus. Nothing else. It's all about our Christ. Uyi Christo free moi and often more in ye. Uyi Christo free moi and ye when you whom free Yesu Christo. It's all about Christ. Baby, any hobby, baby, I can be ano, afro. Afei so yɛ toso biem. There is a written law. Uba Kristo so mo nso a yɛ wɔ mmara a yɛatwerɛ de ama yɛn. Te sɛ deɛ Juda so mu anaa Mosaical period no yɛ wɔ mmara a yɛtwerɛ ma wɔ mo no. Yɛn nso yɛ wɔ mmara a yɛatwerɛ de ama yɛn. Na saa mmara no Nyankopɔn sɛ ɛwɔ sɛ wiase nyinaa ebedi so. Tie o, waka no pen wiase nyinaa medi so. Nation no deɛ ɔsi Israel nko. The stranger ɔba mu mu deɛ a muntwa ne twetia na onkipi saa nneɛma no. That's the difference. Ɛkɔma wiase nyinaa, that is the central thing. Na watwerɛ ɛde ato hɔ. Ɛno ne yɛfrɛ no the New Testament. The New Testament no ɛna Onyankopɔn ɛnam so a ɛnɛ ɔde gye nipa nyinaa nkwa. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse number 4 to 6. 2 Corinthians 3. And let me be here for questions. Any contribution?
Verse 4.
2 Corinthians 3 verse 4. Yeah.
And we have such trust through Christ towards God.
Quite.
Not that we are sufficient of ourselves.
And yes, yes, so there be
to think of anything as being from ourselves.
Quite.
But our sufficiency is from God, who also made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant.
Tio. Ya fata, ya sombo no. What say? Yesu Kristo na ama ya yosa. No say wa ma ya fata say. Apam foforo. Wa ma ya fata say. Apam foforo mu de asomfo. Wow. You are a minister of a new covenant. Tisaka sabase. E kire say if you are ministering o someone who ye bibia o ye no send apam foforo no ye de. Wow. Etu me kan tell me to no but anum na me to no is according to the old covenant. Me kwa sorry. Na sorry na me ko no is according to the old covenant. Me kwa sorry I'm going to church. But I'm going to church because the old covenant tells me to go to church. No. We are servants. We are ministers of the new covenant. And not of the old. To us well.
Who also made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant, not of the letter, but of the spirit.
Okay.
For the letter kills, but the spirit gives life.
Into us say atrede no ekum. Aha no send ye yesu ya no kasa pain at the 10 commandments no ekum. Na mom honhom no de no de e ma nkwa. Se na me mo adwaman a enya old covenant enti na me mo adwaman. Yesu say ma me mo adwaman enti na me nya de me mo. That's what we are talking about. We are ministers. We serve under the New Testament. We serve under the New Testament. To assume.
But if the ministry of death, written and engraved on stone.
Okay. Ministry of death, no, it was written on stones. 10 commandments. Or friend, ministry of death. I can't with that. You don't tell me, say, I don't know who deny in your so Sabbath, you wouldn't. So, me this one, now, who can be at me? No. Me mokro me by Old Testament, me by New Testament one. Ephesians 4 verse 32 say, the obokro no ma onya de mo mokro no biem. Enu nti na me mo. Na mo nye Old Covenant nti na me yosa. There be to aso e.
Engraved on the stone was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not look steadily at the face of Moses because of the glory of his countenance, which glory was passing away. How will the ministry of the Spirit not be more glorious?
Okay.
Verse 9.
Yeah, that's it. To a try and say, or someone yes to me, a ministry of the Spirit. I told you how Israelites were going to be judged. Israel for sending Yakubu or Matano, Obejina Marano so do a poor Matan. Those who are not Israelites and so. One month so no Sabra no more in or say Obequetim Rano, he will judge them without the law. And no yes Sabra no. Now mom say in the Christian dispensation, say the Yankupon Beja, which is a good question. And I hear a good question. It's a good question. Say the Yankupon Beja, or the Old Testament the Beja, no. Or the tithes the Beja, no. Or the Trinity, no. Or the Sabbath, no. And who are for the no. About first order for synagogue, no. We are for no, no. Now, John chapter 12, verse 48. Actually, sending Obadiah. Acts chapter 17, verse 30 and 31.
John chapter 12, verse 48.
Yeah.
He who rejects me.
Yes, you said, dear upon me.
And does not receive my word.
Now on me, yes, mean someone.
Has that which judges him.
Or what near a bunatain. Okay, yes, why never we attain?
As I have spoken, will judge him in the last day.
In someone, yes, I can. And no, a bunny pattern. I still be a most a money pattern. We are never going to be judged by the old covenant. No. So what do you say? Such a what being? Yes, we have been such a. A tronche now a tronche and funny pound conquer demo. Galatians 3 verse 10. It's you are cursed. You are cursed. What the title? You are cursed. Sabbath, one way, or see you are under a curse. Free yourself. Now I can say and shame Rasi, yes, I don't master. No one's uncle in Ranimu. That's a joke. There be and yes, I here. Or saying somewhere yes, I can and no name will be a time. To the yes, I can fire warrior home, the yes, I can for sorry home. Those things are going to judge us. The words of Christ, the words of the apostles, those are going to judge us at the judgment day. The Old Testament they will say, "A year for your learning." And your ram farmer, king kind. Na Christian yanko upon them ramma afofro na womu di so no mu de ye adwuma king kind. Next year ebeboa wo. Na mu enkofa no say mra. Wo yesa wetin? I just said, in near Old Testament, New Testament, no, I can say, you're more, and yeah, the empo in my Jumede, or say, Mania com Senium Rano can pour no answer, according to Senium Rano can also. No, go to Genesis chapter 3. No one can say, and far and concussion. Adofumo, when you're coupon and ne, on them Yesu Christo, so Akasa Ede Atre. Akasa de Atre, Mesa Cielo. We shall see free Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. Answer the magic questions, you know. And what's some kind Hebrews 1, verse 1 and 2. Acts chapter 2, verse 42 say, now we'll cry as my phone in church. But Christopher, we hold to the apostles' doctrine. And you must say, dear, and I'm also quite say, no, apostles' doctrine. And you cry. Hebrews 1, verse 1 and 2. What's it?
Verse 1.
Quiet.
God, who at various times and in various ways spoke in time past to their fathers by the prophets.
God, who in the past, in the past, teteno, okasaye nam kwan who do also so many ways. And okasaye, or say in the past. Now say dear to Asumai, what's saying?
As in these last days.
In these last days. I know they hear you. In these last days. And yes, son and Yankopon Yano. In these last days. Wakasa say.
Spoken to us by his son.
On nam nebano so akasa ede acho. No na waya no niema nyina so odidifo. And through whom he made the universe. Jesus Christ na ne okasa etie. Tie ukofa pam dada mu nyuma ana ejano mu nyuma se. Eno na wodi di dwuma. Enya de a ebeso erade ni de biara da. Ye yapam foforo mufo. Ye nkura asomafo no nkyerɛkyerɛ mu. Acts chapter 2 verse 42. Esan say eno na beje ye nkwa. Wo mo nkyerɛkyerɛ a Yesu de ma wo mo no eno na yekomu a ye benya nkwa gye. Hebrews chapter 8 verse 7 say, "Saka kanye apam no mfomso odi ho a anka wo hwehwɛ ne etoso mienu etobre." Because God knew, said, and Yamoni Mo say, yeah, what kind of and from so who into the for Friday. Or the four and some coachi and call that dano, emo. Oba for no more. A beamo, a tray and say, yes, Christo, a answer will woo into. Tiapam for a chassis after the death and resurrection of Christ. Into be said, I used to buy with the Homeda into the end. Where do Homeda young name? Then well, David on we are not or sorry, and not on no nemra a year juma. It yes to buy and some walkie in our nam town walkie canino. Your friend of Obonis America for say anticipatory. At the study of Parliament at Shamra, no almost say Mrawe, a Bayer Juma 2028 echo. To yes to him say me we are sans one making in our say a day a year juma. Tinu wo. ne sie ye ne sorry etiri no afei de say they say any of mind back be mu go into the whole world na monkoka asempa no enkyere aya kan Hebrews 9 verse 16 and 17 it sounds so catch ye pain say Yesu Kristo ne mra be ya adwuma ade so wo amsa obi ene ho no mo ya wo la oda so tia se na wo ne ya adwuma what be that ebi Ghana de ye de ensam timi koso ebi ebetimi akoso de a but enkoso wo ya wo la wu a ena eye adwuma saa pepepe na Yesu Kristo de no enso etie ebra me de sie no se Kristo som ebre na eduro yi de a ene ekwan ya ye fa so nya nkwaje enso e wo se Yesu ekire ye wo se wo be so wo nya nkwa no problem and then wo se Kristo som e wo ho de ma wiase enyina wo se mento nsa emfa mfrɛ se wunya emfa sansemi a Yesu Kristo enam nasomafo so akyerɛkyerɛ yɛn a ɔse me nka nkyerɛ wo sɛ or the plan of salvation atoho e de aman. Romans chapter 6 verse 17 na me beje questions. Romans chapter 6 verse 17 I said there is one plan of salvation. One in kwaje kwan eye baako pɛ ena Nyankopɔn de atoho ene. Kan me ho say Romans 6 verse 17.
Verse 17.
Quite.
But God be thanked that though you were slaves of sin,
na mumu ye bone nko ade,
yet you obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine to which you were delivered.
But you obeyed. Mu Yesu tie de ma enkyerɛkyerɛ no suban. Twi no say enkyerɛkyerɛ no suban a edinipa no. Brofo no say that form, that pattern of doctrine. What is akasanas? Obi pese onyankwa dia, there is a pattern. I also offer so. There is a pattern. Paul said, you obey that form of doctrine. You have to hear the gospel. Uti Nyankopɔn asɛm no a wɔse gye Yesu Kristo di. Ɔse sacha wa be free ubone ho. Pa mu kan sɛ Yesu Kristo ye Nyankopɔn ba. Na afei de twa to no. Ɔse fa ohuma esubo. Esubo adɔfo enya mpeteso o e nipa nkyerɛkyerɛ. Esubo nya de ye de flag fa utiri so e nipa nkyerɛkyerɛ. Sɛ yensie wo nsuo mu wɔ bra wate Nyankopɔn no kra forget it. Sa esubo yi yankwaje esubo a ene Nyankopɔn e de ato hɔ ma adasama enyina. So obi a mo asu sɛ ne Bible ka no a forget it. O nyankwaje esan sɛ Nyankopɔn asɛm ka ne pain sɛ ne esubo etie. Memfa ho sɛ wo bɔ mpa ye firi anopa besi anadwo. Sɛ wo se wo ye Nyankopɔn ba dia di ne nsɛm so. Nti obi a wanya mpete so ohia esubo foforo. Obi a de flag apa na pampe ohia esubo foforo. Obi a ye twa ne ma sɛ esubo ohia esubo foforo. Obi a rɔrɔ de n'asɛm mpaboa sɛ bra bɛdi asa na Yesu bɛgye ohia esubo foforo. Ohia de nsafra de free saa ntete wɔ nyinaa so. Obi a yɛde bucket si ne tiri ase yɛ hwie nso agu so ohia esubo foforo. Saa fo wɔ nyinaa hia esubo foforo. Na wɔn so ɛ. Moma yɛ ni mmere wɔ Nyankopɔn asɛm ɛho. Many ti bebre sɛ mo wɔ Nyankopɔn asafo. I'm so glad to be in the Church of Christ. Said ye na ye ba ya be nyinaa no. Mitimi bie Bible ka sɛ Bible no kyerɛ yɛn sɛ Awurade adidie yɛ fa ne na wɔtwe mu de bi kan. Bible no kyerɛ me sɛ your living bread any grape juice menije. Bible no kyerɛ sɛ say na wɔse yɛ to nwom menije. Ɔkyerɛ yɛn sɛ mepɛ sɛ mɛma bɔ mpa yɛ mɛ nyinaa ama nsa ho tie so a ebufu a na etinije anim ɛno tie hye mu ɔse yɛ mɛma bɔ mpa yɛ. I don't care about the wiase yɛ. I care about what the Bible says. Na opa fa ne sɛ yɛ agorɔ atemuda ɛbɛba feel. Sɛ Yesu sɛ nsɛm a waka no ɛno ɛna bebu yate. Moma yɛnsua yɛ Bible yie. Nsua yɛ Bible yie. So sɛ atoro nkyerɛkyerɛ bebree na baabi yɛ long lasting. Ebi hyɛ ase ɛnyɛ nɛ. Nsɔre bebree tintim but these fundamental principles ayera wɔ mo. Memba bɛka kyerɛ wo sɛ there are dispensations in the Bible. 3 dispensations. The patriarchal, the Mosaical, and the Christian age. Na ene ye wo Christian age no mo. En monyam ene ni die ni ra ye enka ra de din da. Amen.